Alright, so you ever wonder what it's like to own the mythical, the famous, the legendary, the utterly mediocre Excalibur Prime? Well, I'm here today to give you a first-hand look at the life of a founder. First, let me show you the demigod himself. Let's take a look at this beautifully skinned primed Warframe. Clearly a lot of time went into making this frame look as unique to its vanilla counterpart as possible. Yes sir, these newer primes don't got shit on this masterfully crafted piece of art. My eyes tear up every time I see its beauty. I'm so glad me and other people spent $50 to $200 on this flashy and extravagant exclusive frame. And just look at those stats, baby. Secondly, if you're one of the founders who spent extra money for the scanner and Lato Prime, I'm sorry. Here are all the fun perks to having the life of a founder. Seeing hundreds of threads and comments on YouTube saying we are all generous, unique, masters of the game, scholars and gentlemen, humble, and other nice and thoughtfully shared opinions. Founders get to also do fun things like live in constant fear that DE will give in and break their promise. We founders with Excalibur Prime also get to enjoy the luxury of awkward praise and ass kissery that definitely won't piss off other people who don't have him and definitely not make them further resent us. And last but not least, founders with Excalibur Prime have the absolutely most exclusive thing that no other players will ever understand. And that thing is realizing that being a founder and owning Excalibur Prime is honestly not that big a deal. Well, that's all. Thanks for watching. No, really. Jokes are over. You should pause the video, comment or like, and leave now. I'm serious, I'm dropping the sarcasm. Oh well, you were warned. Having the Excalibur Prime is the biggest double-edged sword I have ever had to deal with in my entire gaming career. It's annoying, aggravating, and just in general a total pain in the ass. If you want my honest opinion if it's bad or good that he is exclusive and never to be available again, then my simple answer is this. I want to say both and or neither, but after having him for more than 3 years, I know there is no grey answer for this. Some days I want him to be available again, so that people will just shut the fuck up and quit whining about not being able to get him. That way my friends who were never quite convinced he was worth the price or simply didn't have the money for him could get him. They are founders too, but only disciples, meaning they only have the title, not the frame. And I hear it, I hear the regret in their voices when the topic is brought up. It makes me want to avoid using him around them. Other days I'm glad he's exclusive. He is the only unique relic left in this game. He is the one thing that people can't just buy with their parents' credit card. He is not just another event reward that Berokiteer will sell for cheap later. He is the literal one-of-a-kind item that was only available to people who wanted to risk dropping a car payment's worth of money into a game that used to be shit. Yes, Warframe was a pretty shit game back then. You think it is repetitive and a grind fest now? Listen here bitch, the only thing there was to do back then was repeat the same mission types, in the same maps, with the same enemies, over and fucking over again, for the pure sake of grinding. I had millions of credits and thousands of platinum, all of which I had no fucking idea what to do with it. By the 5th month of playing we all had the best gear at the time, unlocked every planet node, and basically beat the fucking game. Quests wasn't a thing. Weapon variety wasn't a thing. Character customization was barely a thing. Story and lore really wasn't a thing yet. Gameplay was stale and generic. Map variety existent but shallow at best. Graphics dull, grimy, and dark. Music, I swore for months they only had that one war drum piece and that was it. In case you failed to get the joke at the start of the video, Excalibur Prime is not an amazing looking prime. The only really unique thing about his appearance is his helmet, and the exalted blade hilt no one other than you can even see. And for those of you who didn't know, exalted blade was not a thing when Excalibur Prime was available. Hell, it even says on his wiki page that he has the least cosmetic difference compared to his standard counterpart. Back then, Excalibur was the poster boy who wasn't really that good. Even though I mained him, I had to often face the facts that he was a below mediocre frame, and was only really effective against level 30 enemies and below. The only thing he could do that'd be remotely useful to a squad would be to just spam radial blind to stun enemies, and I'm talking before radial blind made enemies vulnerable to finishers. Yes, Excalibur's endgame was a duration range build. Does this sound like a Warframe you would play? Does this sound like a Warframe whose prime version can be only obtained by spending $50? Sound worth it? Have I convinced you to spend $50 to $200 yet for a character and a couple weapons that people didn't really care about or really like that much at the time? Founders like me took a gamble in spending that much money in a game many of us thought would fail and die in a few months, and we won the apparent jackpot. Owning Excalibur Prime is not a status symbol, but instead he is a trophy that has this engraved on it. I wanted this game to be successful because I saw all the potential it had, and now, thanks to me and so many others, it's now one of the best free to play games available on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. Excalibur Prime is the physical example that sticking with something that is bad now doesn't mean it cannot get better in the future. If he is made available now, he will become just another Warframe that any and everyone can get, and there will be nothing special about him. In fact, if he is released now, everything I just said goes out the window, and Excalibur Prime will become a symbol of lies and betrayal. Not trying to sound dramatic, but that's simply the case. Especially to the founders who were stupid enough to get the $200 plus package. It was DE who decided to make Excalibur Prime exclusive to founders instead of something like Excalibur Umbra. It was DE who decided not to release him on consoles. It's DE who keeps dodging the bullets being hurled at them and instead letting them hit the founders. Stop blaming the founders for the business decisions DE made that they had no control over. I personally don't care what you say about me, or honestly other Hunter rank founders. But the masters and grandmasters are the ones who are entitled to serious financial compensation if DE were to break their terms and conditions. The founders' only fault here is they saw a deal they liked, and they took it. In the skit at the beginning of this video I said that being founders with Excalibur Primes is not that big a deal. Well, obviously I lied, and hopefully helped you understand why that is indeed a big fucking deal.